This video is presented by Western and Southern Financial Group, a game plan for your financial future. Every great team starts with a strong foundation, and your future should too. With life insurance built like a championship roster, Western and Southern helps protect what matters most so you can focus on winning today while planning for tomorrow. Whether you're just starting out your journey, building your dynasty, or ready to retire like a champion, Western and Southern has the right play for your life stage. Visit westernsouthern.com to get your free life insurance quote today. Western and Southern, built to win. NFC East, that's the last division that we're doing here. Dallas Cowboys. What is the New Year's resolution here for Dallas, missing the playoffs this year? How do they get back in the postseason the following year?
You're going to hear me screaming about this all the way through the NFL draft, and they need to find a way to find some pieces in free agency too. They've got to fix the back seven of this defense. They have the second lowest graded set of linebackers in the league, only ahead of the Cincinnati Bengals. They have the lowest graded set of cornerbacks. They have the lowest graded set of safeties. Their coverage this season, their defensive line got better, especially after they traded for Quinnen Williams and Donovan Ezaraku developing really well this second-round pick. The defensive line, maybe you add another piece or two, a pass rusher, veteran pass. Maybe you just keep Jadeveon Clowney. That might be an answer. But defensive line, I think, is going to be fine. Their back seven, and there's some defensive coordinator questions surrounding this team. We'll see what the moves are maybe this week. Their back seven's got to be the whole focus of this offseason, I think. The running back position as well on the offensive side, whether or not they're keeping Javonte Williams or finding somebody else, adding in the draft, however they're doing that. Maybe they're a Jeremiah Love candidate. But the backs, they will not get to the playoffs unless their back seven is not, quite legitimately the worst back seven of any defense in football.
Yeah, because you look at how many points they scored this year, how on fire that offense was, and yet they were still in barn burners in the first half of the season because the secondary was as bad as it was. So I agree with you. The resolution is finding more starters and difference makers in coverage at the linebacker level, the safety level, and then corner. They have Savone Revel, who they're hoping is better next year, with a full year under his belt. And he can, not a full year under his belt, but a year of experience-ish under his belt now, getting back from injury, getting back into the football field, which is good. They have Deron Bland as well, but no Trayvon Diggs anymore. And I think that corner, safety, linebacker, all of those are on the table in the first round for him.
Any of them. Doesn't. If Caleb Downs is sitting there for any reason, because you take him.
Sprint
if it's Sonny Styles at linebacker, I would spend a whole draft on this back seven.
Yeah.
Maybe one running back mixed in there.
Yeah, again, it's going to be tough for Sonny Styles to play for Dallas when he's playing for the Bucs.
That's a good call.
But I just wanted to make sure
might get themselves in a bidding war. Maybe
you were aware of that. The New York Giants don't have Brian Daboll, obviously. Do still have Joe Shane. He's going to stick around as the general manager here for this offseason. What does he and the rest of this front office need to do as have as a resolution?
In general, very much like I would say Tennessee or New Orleans, and more like Tennessee because they're going to have a new head coach, just figuring out what to do to build around Jackson Dart.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Obviously, there was talks at a certain point if the Giants had the first overall pick. We're not doing that. Jackson Dart's their quarterback, and now he's especially the quarterback picking 5th overall. So,
right.
You get Malik Neighbors back healthy, big help. You get Cam Scatteraboo back healthy, that's a big help on the offensive side. But the Giants got to get better in a lot of areas of their team, man. Their offensive line outside of Andrew Thomas, they need to improve, especially on the right side of the line where you got veteran guys who are good enough to stabilize things, but they need plus players on the offensive line. I think they still, even with Scatteraboo back, they need more speed at running back. I like Tyrone Tracy, but I need a burner, right? I need somebody who can really rip off explosive runs. Decide if they're re-signing Wan'Dale Robinson, who really got some good chemistry going with Jackson Dart, and see if he's sticking around. And then, look, their defense just has to be better. They have way too much talent.
That is actually my resolution for them.
And I get it. They have way too much talent to be playing the way they played this year.
Who actually gets the most out of his defense. You just said it. Way too talented to be as poor as they were this year. They had a 60.1 overall defensive grade, which was, 23rd in the NFL. Their run defense grade was 32nd in the NFL when you look at the full season scope. Their pass rush grade, where they should be good, 12th. But then their coverage grade, they were, where's their coverage grade? 19th. So pass rushing is the only, you're telling me this Giants defense, the only area that they were above average in was pass rush? That's it?
We were talking about
way too talented for that to be the case.
We were talking about this team in the preseason overall. wow, this could be a top 10 defense.
Could be a top 5
This
defense in the NFL.
Could be a problem.
Yes.
And Abdul Carter.
So you've got
Abdul Carter was solid, and Brian Burns, I believe, was second in the league in sacks. But basically everything other than those two guys went wrong.
Completely underwhelming. Find the right defensive mind. That is actually the resolution there for me.
Agreed.
Philadelphia Eagles. What do we got on the Eagles for a resolution here?
This, to me, was, I think, the hardest one on the whole list.
Well, yeah, because they're the reigning Super Bowl champions and have one of the most talented teams in the NFL. They're just underplaying how well they could be playing.
Another one where the resolution should just probably be, well, just go win the Super Bowl again.
Well,
right?
Yeah, very casual.
Which they have those expectations, right? I mean, they're talented enough to do it. Their defense and Jalen, they're talented enough to do it. They just have to execute at that level. I kind of copped out here. I tried to find something else to build maybe towards the future on the offensive line.
I agree.
Is Tyler Steen your guy long-term at right guard? And Lane Johnson's 36 years old, and he hasn't played since week 11, right? So I think that might be something. And they're always taking developmental offensive linemen on day 3 and figuring out maybe that's how they ended up with Jordan Mailata being the stud that he is, right? So maybe the answer is already in-house with somebody like Cameron Williams or someone like that. But I think, as always, if Howie Roseman has a chance to look long-term at this offensive line and feel like, okay, we can stabilize this thing for another decade with somebody, maybe not next year, but somebody beyond Lane Johnson eventually, well, you figure it out. But again, this team, you look at them and you go, man, they have so few flaws, right? Yep. And on the roster, they're the team I watch every week, and it just comes down to execution.
Yep.
More so than any sort of dynamic flaw in their team.
Totally.
The real resolution is, all right, you're going to make a run and do it again, right? And then figuring out what small bits of your team that you have to improve to go and win it, because they're a perennial Super Bowl contender with that much talent.
No, I agree with you. I had in the latest mock draft that I did over at PFF.com, I had them taking Caleb Lomu in the first round.
Yeah. And he wouldn't have to start right away.
Exactly, which I love. I love that situation for them, but it just goes into, I agree with you, the resolution should be to continue to build this offensive line and make sure that you're tip-top there. Like, don't do what the Browns and the Lions have done, where they've had a real fall from grace. The Eagles have also not been as dominant as they have been over the last couple of years, but you can recover a little bit here, I think, if you're Philadelphia. Last one's the Washington Commanders. Resolution for Washington here.
Another team, get healthy, get Jaden Daniels healthy, get back on the horse here. We'll see. There's been a lot of talk about Cliff Kingsbury maybe being a head coaching candidate elsewhere too, but really it's about the defense. This team has got to figure out they got to find superstars. They got to find playmakers on defense, because they just don't have enough of them. You look at throughout this entire defense, kind of like we just talked about with the Giants, just underwhelming. 23rd in defensive grade, 21st in pass rush grade, 30th in coverage grade. That last one, the secondary, was just a mess, an absolute mess this year. They got to figure out the cornerback spot, and to me, edge rusher, who is going to be a consistent 3-down pass rusher for them. I mean, they got situational guys like Von Miller, I think had 9 sacks this year, but you're not winning long-term in the year 2026 with Von Miller as your top sack guy, right? Is Bobby Wagner sticking around another year? Or are we going into the future at linebacker? They need playmakers. I'm telling you right now, we get to this draft, I think they're picking 7th, is it? Take the best defensive player on the board. I don't care what position. If it's Caleb Downs, more power to you.
That's my resolution. Just draft Caleb Downs. Yeah. Very simple. Very simple. The resolution is draft Caleb Downs.
As long as he gets there, because you know me, I really still believe Caleb Downs is probably the best football player in this draft.
Yeah.
Is he going to fall to 7 because safeties?
I think he's going to fall to 7. Now, obviously, we're having this conversation at the beginning of January, so maybe the narrative really changes. But again, I've said this so many times, I'm going to continue to say it throughout the entire process. Kyle Hamilton was unanimously seen as a top 5 overall player. He gets drafted in the middle of the first round.
14th, I think.
Right. Derwin James.
Yep.
Not injury concerns with Derwin, but Derwin was seen as just one of the best football players in the draft. Okay, well, he gets drafted middle of the first round. Antoine Winfield Jr. wasn't even a first rounder. The NFL just doesn't draft a lot of these guys high. But maybe with as good as Hamilton has been, as good as Antoine Winfield Jr. has been, as good as Derwin James has been recently, as good as Nicky Manwari has been, right?
Brian
Branch. He was a second rounder, though. That's what I'm saying. So I kind of think he gets to 7. And if he does, pull the trigger.
I get it. It's just the theme. Take the best defensive player, maybe with all of your picks.
Yeah.
Take the best defensive player on the board. That simple.
Everyone's got takes. Numbers have truth. And the truth is, most people are betting with emotion. Sportsbooks feed on it. TikTok gurus sell it. The hype machine runs on it. That's how you lose. PFF is different. You're betting with winning data. The same data trusted by all 32 NFL teams and the sharpest minds in the game. PFF betting tools take every prop, every matchup, every angle, and run them through our custom models. Built on the best football data in the world. What comes back is your edge. Simple, sharp, and built to win. Want to go deeper? PFF puts a pro-level analytics department in your hands, giving you the same insights teams use to find every advantage. Build your game plan with matchup analysis. Project every snap, every matchup, and every edge before kickoff, because the smartest plays start long before Sunday. Hit rates show how a player performs against their prop and against defenses built the same way. It's the data that gives you real confidence in every pick. Next, Key Insights translates PFF data into the story behind every matchup, giving you the why that powers your bets. From coverage schemes to defensive looks, it's the context that turns raw numbers into winning decisions. When you're ready to take action, filter through every prop on the market and focus on the opportunities that matter, by game, matchup, or value. Then, shop for the best available line in your area and tap your book of choice to place the bet instantly. Everyone's got takes, but now you've got truth. Bet with data, win with PFF.